Good morning everybody. How is everyone today? Pinch punch, it is the 1st of the month, 1st of May. We're in May. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. So I've just poked myself in the eye right before stream, so I'm a bit later starting than normal. Hopefully it'll settle down. Only I could do this, you know. Oh dear, how is everybody? I hope everyone's had a lovely weekend. Arky, you're not watching at work, are you? No. Good evening, how are you doing, Arky? Oh dear me. Oh, that really hurt. Try and look on the camera to see how it looks. Oh dear me. There you go. If it's not a coughing fit, it's poking myself in the eye. Oh dear. So I'm just looking on the screen there and it says that Crafty Angel has subscribed with Twitch Prime. Crafty Angel, thank you ever so much. Ooh, that's so exciting. I'm still getting used to this whole subscribers thing and bits and cheers. It was wonderful. Wonderful on Friday. You missed the first bit, Arky. Basically, I just poked myself in the eye right before we came on. Anyway, Crafty Angel, thank you so much for the subscription. That means, because on Friday my emotes got approved, so if you check in your chat box now, you can use my funky new emotes. I'll just chuck them in chat so you can see what they look like, and yeah, super excited. There they go, bouncing down the screen. We got all different hexy designs there, and I popped them on the top of the overlay as well, so you can see what they look like. And no surprises that they feature in our Twitch Stitch Along sampler quilt thing as well. So I spent the weekend trying to make up my emotes as blocks so that we can incorporate those into the quilt. But yeah, it's super exciting, Arky. I'm kind of like, ooh, this feels real or something. Oh dear. So I don't know if Crafty Angel is watching, but if you are, thank you. Really appreciate it. I will. I'll make up your sub heart in a few minutes' time. But, I'm just going to run through kind of what we're planning to do today. So let's swap to my desk cam, and you can see what I've been up to over the weekend. So I think I showed you this one on Friday. I think I'd already made this one up by Friday. So this is roughly like my kind of basic emote. I've just changed the colours around for the sampler quilt because I wanted to get some contrast in there with dark and light. So that was the first one. I made up the second one, which is the spiral. I love this one. It's always a favourite of mine, and you can do this with scraps, which I did on my funky cushion, which you've seen a lot of love over the weekend. It's quite squished, the boys really like this. But I made this one with scraps, so each fabric is different, whereas with this one they're all the same. Hi Mel, how are you? Good evening. I hope you had a good weekend, Mel. We've got a glorious sunny day here in the UK, which always makes me a bit sad to stream because I think I could be in the garden, but not to worry. Crafty Angel, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for subscribing, Crafty Angel. I really appreciate it. So I'll make up your sub heart in a minute and you can pick your fabrics. But on Friday after the stream, my emotes were approved. So I've been making my emotes as hexy blocks because I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited that I now have emotes that you can use in chat if you're a subscriber. So Crafty Angel, if you check your emotes, you should have the simple flower there. Which is exciting. You can chuck those in chat. I'm not sure if you can use those in other channels as well. I think you can. I think you can use those in other streams if you're watching other people as well. So over the weekend, I've just been making up my emotes as hexagon blocks that we'll incorporate into our Stitch Along sampler if you choose to stitch along, and if you don't stress. So that was the second one, and I'm just working on the third one at the moment, which is the kind of diamond star. So this is made up not exclusively with diamonds, but mostly diamond shapes in this one, and then we just have some half hexies to fill in the outer ring. So yeah, kind of excited. And like I say, I'm just testing. I should get the requirements up Yay, Mel's got hers, fantastic. Do you know, I hadn't got a clue what to do with emotes. So these are images from my quilt design software that I use to design the quilt with. I could yeah, I could send them out as images, and that's what we've got as an emote. They're kind of fun, aren't they, Mel? Nice and bright and cheerful. Oh dear, so yeah, I'm just working on this third emote, third test block. And yeah, so like I say, requirements should be up Friday. By Friday's stream, I'll have a list of fabrics and things. If you want to join in, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. I think we'll set aside sort of one stream a month to work through. I don't think we'll be able to make a whole block in a stream, but I can certainly get you guys sort of kicked off and working away on them, and then we can always meet up in the next stream and kind of see how everyone got on. But we'll see how that goes, because I've never done this before. So I don't really know how it's going to work, but we'll see how we get on. So yeah, so that's the third emote, just working on at the minute. So Crafty Angel, thank you for the subscription. I think before I start on this block though, I'm going to make up your little sub heart. So bear with, I'll just move this to one side. Let's put this needle somewhere where I won't stab myself. I'll move this to one side, and we'll make up your heart. She says one side. Where is it going to go? Here. Just shove it on the table. There we go, out of the way. Let's find my little subs box. Oh, it's just over here. And I learnt after doing Mel's sub heart, we've made things a little bit easier. So I've got 4 fabrics that you can choose from, Crafty Angel. And I even put little stickers on, so you can just type in the chat which one you would like your little sub heart making up in, and then I'll make it up for you. Because with Mel, we had a lot of fun, didn't we, Mel, trying to figure out which fabric you wanted. So hopefully Crafty Angel is still watching, and you can let me know which fabric you would like me to use. And if she's gone, we'll wait until she comes back, I suppose. Can I click here? I never know what I'm doing. I sort of click around on the computer. Oh dear. So yeah, been a horrible, grey, miserable weekend, and then this weekend it's been wonderful. Today, sorry, we've got a lovely bright sunshine coming out, so typical, isn't it? Let's just close that, So, no response. Oh, Crafty Angel Fabric A. Okie dokie, we've got the white one with the stars. Because you are a superstar. A superstar. It makes life much easier for me. Because when I was doing it with Mel, I got this big box of red and white fabrics, and we got into a bit of a state, didn't we, Mel, figuring out which one you wanted. So, to make a heart, yeah, it's glorious here today. We're using 1/2" jewels, but any jewel size will work to make the heart. We just need 2 of those. So I've got 2 glue pens in this box, but that one's definitely got glue in. So they get everywhere, these things. They're a bit like rabbits. They breed. Let's put that one in my sewing box. Okie doke, so what do I need? Let's just stick these down, and then we can add you to the quilt. That's the wrong side, so we stick the papers on the wrong side of our fabrics. Because I've been working a lot with solids and batiks, so you don't necessarily realise that, but paper always goes on the wrong side. And let's do that one. Just a spot of glue on the back, just to hold them in place. And I'll just roughly cut around with roughly a 1/4" inch seam allowance. Oh dear. I can't believe I managed to poke myself in the eye just before I hit start streaming. Settle down now though. Always something. So yeah, we're just roughly cutting around that with my 1/4" inch seam allowance. And again, it's just a rough eyeball. And then we can put fabric A, and we'll choose a different one to add to the mix. So let's just do these at the same time. See if they want to stick. Do you know, I don't know. I just have this ability, Crafty Angel, to hurt myself. I'm very good at it. I'm one of those people that always gets in the way when the furniture's being moved and oh dear, yeah. It's because I've got something in my hand and I go to do something and don't realise I'm still holding a pen or some implement. I will try not to injure myself. I don't plan on using a rotary cutter today, so that's the biggest worry, isn't it? You'll cut yourself. I think one of the other streamers has done that actually on stream live, managed to cut themselves with a rotary cutter. It's not good. But I think I've only cut myself once with a rotary cutter in 14 years. So I'm kind of known at the shop where I teach. I'm very strict about blades and things. I hate to see them left out, so I'm touch wood. My blades are always away. There we go. So there we have our two jewels, and if we put them together like this, look, we get a little love heart. So we're going to do that, and then we will write your name, Angel, across the front. Just grab a length of thread. Oh, it's funny actually, Arky, I bought my mum a special rotary cutter because she's just starting to develop rheumatoid arthritis in her hands, and so gripping is becoming a problem. But you can get these really funky rotary cutting rulers now that have the blade in a housing on the side, like a guillotine. And so you just lay the ruler on, then you just run the blade up. And that looks quite funky, but I think I'm so used to using a rotary cutter, it would take me a while to adjust. There we go. So how's the weather with you guys in Oz? You're heading into autumn now, aren't you? It's starting to cool down a bit for you. Cooling down, of course, is like our summer for us, but right, I definitely need a thimble today because I've really mashed my finger over the weekend. I managed to push the needle into the pad of my finger, and it hurt like a you know what. All these injuries. Oh, I'll just turn that music down a little bit. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's a little bit squealy. So I'm trying to play copyright-free music so I don't get into trouble and don't get my streams muted on the playback. There we go. But I haven't found any copyright-free music I like yet. Oh, and Arky, I did check out Butterfingers, their newer singles. It's just not the same. I think Breakfast at Fat Boys has to be like the best album. And I have to be careful because I can't play that when the kids are around anyway. Not yet. Here we go, we're just stitching Angel's heart together. So the only issue with this style of block is it doesn't tessellate in the same way that sort of hexes and diamonds do. You end up, depending on how you put them together, you can end up with upside down hearts, which I don't want, because I don't want any of my subs upside down. So I think I'm going to fill in the gaps with diamonds. Let's have a look. Just coming to the end here now. There we go. So Angel, you should have the emotes now as well. I don't know if you've tried them out, but in the chat window you can click on the emotes bit and you should have my hexadoodle emote that you can use in chat. There we are, we open you up, there we go. Morning, Myron, how are you? Hi. There we go, so that's that. And then we're just going to write, yay, Crafty Angel's got her emote. Fantastic. So, I'm just using a permanent pen here. It's so cold, Myron. Oh my goodness, it's really warm here today. We're revelling. Hopefully I can fit the rest of your name on. There we go. Crafty Angel, there you are. You are in my little group. And I'm just going to write on the back the month, because each month you resubscribe, you get another heart. I'm not going to just do it at one time only. 0518, the first subscriber of May as well. And there we go. So we can add you to the mini quilt. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably do, I don't know what size this is going to end up, but if you see it doesn't, we can put you in rows like this, and then we'll end up with a little gap. I think I've got another practice one that I made up. You end up with like a little gap there between, so we'll put a little 1/2 inch diamond in there, I think. But there we go, let's stitch you on now. Unfinished mail is still unfinished. That's what makes it special. But I did write your details on the back, Mel, so I know it's you. So right sides together, we'll baste you on. You can snuggle in next to Mel and keep her company, because Mel was my first subscriber. Oh, there we go. This won't hurt too much, guys, I promise. It's not some kind of weird voodoo. Oh dear dear. So yeah, this weekend I've been mostly thread basting. I've kind of gone back to basics, because obviously I've got this Alison Glass swap that I've signed up to, and you have to thread baste for that. So I've been practicing my thread basting. It's been a long time since I've done thread basting, and I'm really liking it. I'm really liking it. I'm getting, I find it's much easier to whip stitch the shapes together when I've thread basted rather than glue basted. So kind of go through phases of liking one technique and another, you know. But yeah, I've enjoyed the thread basting. I've been just sat doing that of an evening. There we are, Crafty Angel is now in amongst the rest of the subscribers. There we go. So hopefully we'll get a nice little mini quilt, and I'll be able to hang you all on the wall. Thank you ever so much, Crafty Angel. Right, back in the box for now though. What did I do with my needle? My needle's in there, pen's in there. Just put you to one side. I'll get a board, I think, at the back so we can pin you up and I won't lose you all then. But, yeah, so I was, like I say, spent the weekend, I've been thread basting so I can practice my technique, ready for the swap, and then I am just working on the emote blocks. And like I say, they will go into our sampler quilt as well. And I quite often make test blocks because I'm never sure, sometimes on the order of construction, how to actually put the blocks together. So the centre was quite straightforward, and that we just put the 6 diamond pieces together, but I tend to do those into 3s, and then I've got a nice long seam here that I can stitch across. And I wasn't sure how I wanted to attack this next ring, so I've kind of broken it down into sort of sub-units that I'm going to stitch in. But I have noticed I am struggling then to get these points to match as nicely as I would like. I mean, it doesn't look that bad on screen. It just bothers me. So you can just see I'm ever so slightly off here. And so I think if I was doing this again, and of course I will be doing it again, I will add the pieces individually so I can make sure that I get them spot on. But for the purposes of this test, we'll let it go. Let it go. I'm not going to sing that. But instead of stitching a long seam along here, what I will do is I will start in this centre point and try and get these points to match as closely as I can, and then stitch out either side, which kind of takes away from doing it in one unit, because I had hoped to just stitch all the way across. But like I say, just struggling to get those points to match up as nicely as I'd like. So again, we're just right sides together, and I'm just going to stitch these. And these have all been thread basted. And what I'm finding is, obviously with thread basting, I do less damage to the papers, so I get more reuses out of them. With the glue, it tends to build up after a while, and you can't glue baste because you start to distort the shape itself. So let's just try and match these centres first. Just going to turn. Instead of putting my big light on, I've got a little desk lamp here. See if that'll help. It's a bit brighter for me to see. So I just want to match these points, and I'll hold them with a clip, and we'll stitch across. So these wonder clips really are very useful and much easier than pins, no sharp bits, because I definitely can injure myself on pins. And sometimes you'll find when you're paper piecing, oh, ping that up my sleeve. Sometimes when you're paper piecing, when you've got different thicknesses of fabric, although they're all kind of quilting cottons, you'll get different thicknesses, and sometimes your shapes aren't exactly the same, so you might need to sort of stretch it and ease it a bit to get them to match up. But we'll see how we get on. And I'm going to stitch these in black thread, because they're joining an outer, a black ring. We'll stitch it with black. It should be less obvious then. Come here, you. I finally made use of my little bobbin saver and took all those little pre-filled bobbins out of their packaging. Takes up a lot less space this way. That means I've always got all my colours with me. And I still haven't remembered to pre-thread my needles. So wrap it around the needle a few times. I want quite a big knot, because obviously this is a very fine thread. And I'm definitely going to need my little cushion just to raise everything up. Get it closer to the camera for you as well, hopefully. So yeah, I'll carry on working on this block, and then I was having a play with the free bit of fabric I got the other day from Olive and Flo. I've kind of had an idea for what I want to do with that, so I might start on that after this block. So the first thing, I'm going to stitch through, just try and match these points up as best I can. Never quite have enough hands to do this. Let's see if I can get through the 2 points. There we go. And just whip over the top of there. And I'll work my way out to 1 point, and then we'll join the thread again, and we'll work that way. Try and bring my shoulders down because they're aching this weekend, because I've done quite a bit of stitching. And the problem is, when it starts to hurt, it's usually too late. You've been doing it wrong for too long, you know. So I must take breaks. But I tend to just zone out, meditating when I'm doing this, and I forget to take a break. So I found a funky new app this weekend as well on my iPad that I was going to share with you guys, because it's an isometric drawing app, which means you can start planning your own hexie quilts. And that's quite fun, this idea that I can doodle on the go now as well. I don't have to wait until I get back home to put it on the computer. I can grab the iPad or the iPhone and just quickly make a note of what I'm thinking. Very often when you're out and about, if you look down at the floors, you'll get inspiration from tiled floors. I tend to. And either grab a picture of it on my phone, or I can sketch it out using this little app. That's the hope anyway. Haven't actually been anywhere to test it yet. So I'm just whip stitching along this edge, trying to keep them relatively close together. And the other thing I found by adding these units on is I'm kind of reaching over the top of them, they're getting in my way, which is annoying as well. So I think when we make it on stream, I'll add each piece individually and hopefully won't get lots of bits in my way. Oh dear. So has anybody been to see the new Avengers movie yet? No spoilers if you have, because I haven't managed to get out and see it. I tend to not go to the cinema much these days. I'll wait for it to come out on DVD and watch it at home. But I'm looking forward to this one. I do like my Avengers movies. Oh dear. But I did watch, finally got around to watching The Greatest Showman. I think a lot of people have been telling me about this movie. And of course it's got Mr. Jackman in, who is very easy on the eye. I don't know if it's me, but I was quite disappointed. Eek, I have to say, I did sit there most of the evening thinking, oh. So I don't know if it's me, guys, or if I didn't get it, or what, but I was quite shocked. I hadn't clicked that it was a musical. I don't know why. Perhaps because you don't expect Wolverine to be that kind of character, I don't know. But I was quite disappointed in the film. So let me know if you've seen The Greatest Showman. Is it me? Did you thoroughly enjoy it? Maybe I just didn't get it. So let's see how we did there. So we've got that pretty well joined up and we've just stitched along there. Now I'm not going to stitch up this edge. Oh, you mean you were actually working, Arky? It's okay, you know. I was just saying, I watched the Greatest Showman at the weekend, and I was really disappointed. And I don't know if it's me. I'm not going to say any more than Arky. I won't say any more about it. But yeah, let's put it this way. I had to put Moulin Rouge on afterwards and kind of rant at my husband. But that said, like I say, Mr. Jackman is very easy on the eye. So I didn't mind watching it. I just perhaps didn't realise didn't know what I was expecting. So I need to manage my expectations better. Oh dear. Yeah, I think it's just come out. Oh, Les Miserables. I haven't seen that one either. That's Russell Crowe, isn't it, I think? Yeah, I've not seen that one, so I need to... I'm not sure if I'm ready to after after The Greatest Showman. I might need to give it a break. But yeah, I put Moulin Rouge on afterwards and kind of felt a bit better. One of my favourite films, that. Just saying that I think the new Avengers movie's out now, and I want to go and see that, but I think the kids are just a bit too young. Oh, and Hugo's in Les Mis as well? Right. Okay, I will sit through it just for that then. Oh dear. Problem is now I can't think of Hugh Jackman without thinking of Deadpool. And his smooth criminals. Oh dear. So just stitching along here. Like I say, kind of regretting the way I decided to put this one together. But you live and you learn. There is no right or wrong way, it's just what works for you. But I definitely think when I make this again on stream, I will take a different approach to putting this block together and see if it's any easier. I find there's a lot of wrist movement in this one. And from what I remember, things like carpal tunnel come from lots of wrist movement, so I'm trying to avoid it because I know that I stitch a lot. So I know that these are all things I need to be aware of, so I try and avoid moving the wrists too much. Oh dear. So are you working an evening shift, Archie? Or are you nearly finishing up for the day? I'm trying to remember what time it is over there. I need to make some more hexi clocks so I can have them all set up with everyone's time zones on, so I can just glance and figure out what time it is where you guys are. But unfortunately the ones I made up on stream are now at the shop because Rox is using them as samples for the kids. So I need to make some more. What a shame. Oh, evening and a sleepover. Oh goodness. That must be hard being away from home and at work. So I'm working a quilt show this month now. Now we're in May. Oh gosh, Archie. Long way to go yet then. Yeah, I've got Malvern Quilt Show coming up. And as much as I love the show, I hate being away from home. And I think we're camping this year because it's significantly cheaper than paying for hotels and things. But it does mean that I'm always just on the back foot because I haven't got any of my home comforts about, and find it quite hard to settle. But I'm going away for a week afterwards, so hopefully I will recover. There we are. So that's that next portion on. And like I say, I'm not going to stitch these together just yet because I'm working in black thread at the moment, but we will get white thread on. But now I've surrounded these two, I can take these basting stitches out and remove the papers so it stays soft and easier to work with. So let's pull those out and I can show you. So I've just done really long basting stitches on this, so I can just pull these out now. And say I haven't done thread basting in quite a while because glue is quick. Oh, but there's something quite satisfying about pulling out basting stitches. And I can rescue that paper with very little damage, and that'll be reusable a good few times now. And like I say, I think with thread basting I get more uses out of my papers than I do when I'm glue basting, because the glue starts to build up on the papers and starts to distort the shape. Whereas thread basting just puts a few holes in it. But they come out much easier again as well with the glue. I have to pick off the seam allowance. But with thread basting I find it much easier to get the papers back out. Oh, my shoulders today, sorry. Oh, brilliant, so you can just sit and potter about until everyone comes back and then get everybody settled to take it. So that's a bit softer again now, I'll be able to fold that easily when I come to stitch those seams. But for now, before I lose everything, I want to get these stitched on. So let's pull that one round. Try and line up those points, and again I'm going to stitch from the centre outwards, which hadn't been the plan, but because I'm struggling to get these points to match nicely, we're having to adapt to the plan. That's it then, you'll be able to sit there stitching your hexies whilst you wait for people to come back. Where's my black thread? There it is. So it's nice and quiet here today. I do have to get on with the laundry at some point. I think we've got to the point now where, yeah, people are going to be naked tomorrow unless I actually do some washing. Sounds good, Arky. So I don't know if Boop will join us today. I did send her Discord invite, so there we go. So let's all pin these edges as well. So sometimes I do have to do a bit of easing because the different weights of the fabric, although they're all quilting cotton, so different manufacturers have different weights. So sometimes a bit of easing needed. And I think these rainbow ones are actually a cotton poplin as opposed to 100%. Poplin is just a different kind of weave. So they're working out okay, but I wouldn't normally use poplin. I like the fabric, so I have to. And in all honesty, it's not much different to working with batiks. It's about the same density. Just trying to catch that point of that diamond. There we go. Oh, it'd be nice if she does. If she doesn't, that's cool. So it feels really weird with Tony's schedule being off with her travelling. I'm missing people in chat. Haven't seen people in a while. But I think she's kind of resuming normal service as of tomorrow, I think. I saw on Instagram she's on her way back now. So we'll be able to meet up in Tony's stream. Can boop her then. Oh dear. See, I'm stitching this with black thread because I find that, particularly when you've got two very contrasting colours, I find the darker colour doesn't show up the stitches as much as the lighter colour will. I'm sure there's some science to that, but I don't know what the science is. Oh my, super tiny eye on this needle. Just try and rethread it. It's a frustrating thing that the eyes of needles are stamped, and Murphy's Law says I always get the side that was stamped through, so I get resistance. It's like a little burr in there. So you have to flick it around and try the other side. There we go. Oh, and now it fell off. Sometimes you just have one of those days. There we go, first try. So I'm going to marry the thread to the needle to stop it from unthreading, which is very difficult to demonstrate on stream. But I'm just poking the tail over the needle 3 times. And what that means then is that thread is attached to the needle and isn't going to unthread itself. Perhaps I'll do that another time with a thicker thread so you can see it in more detail. But it's called marrying the thread. And I bet if you look on YouTube there'll be a video that shows you how to do it. And just stops that, especially with slippery threads like polyester, which is what I'm using, it just stops them from coming off the eye of the needle. There we go. That's better. I can pick up the pace a little bit. keep these basting threads out of my way. So when I'm thread basting, I just tend to use any old thread. Usually the cheap stuff that's not nice in the machine, I'll keep that for basting paper pieces with. I think this one is a hand, yeah, it's a hand quilting thread I've been using, because I have loads of this colour and it's not a very nice one. But I got it in a job lot off eBay, and I can't ever see me actually hand quilting with it, but it's quite nice for basting. There we go, we're at the end, so just take a couple of stitches, put my needle through the loop just to make a knot, do that twice. That will stop that seam from unravelling past that point if we should have a problem. So if I open that out, not too bad. Hey, good morning Pete the Smeep, how are you doing? How was your weekend? So I had my emotes approved on Friday, so I'm making up blocks for the emotes that we'll incorporate into our sampler quilt that we're going to start in June. I'm just testing how the blocks go together and making sure that my fabric calculations are correct before I tell you guys to rush out and buy fabric and then find I've told you the wrong amount. But I think we're looking good at the minute. I think the calculations are working out. I'm just going to clip that still, not ready to let go of that. Oh dear. I'm trying to think if we've got any other news. Oh no, Peep. Oh, I don't like throwing up. I get really upset. I get really upset when I'm throwing up. Oh no. Also, you're just living in fear that it might get to you. Is everybody else well now? Is it just like a 24-hour thing? So we quite often get bugs come through the house with the kids at school, obviously. But, mine seem pretty resilient, but every now and again we get sideswiped by something. And, 24 hours and it's gone, but drains you. Oh dear, so I realised as well when I was typing up the next stream date that Friday is the 4th of May, May the 4th. So I'm thinking I might have to come up with a doodle inspired by Star Wars. I'm not sure what yet. I think a Death Star would be an obvious one. But, see if we can get some May the 4th doodles done in time. We are a bit closer now. I can take that pin off and not worry about it shifting. Oh no, Peep. So it has an incubation period as such, doesn't it then? Oh. Hang in there, you'll be okay. Like I say, we always tend to, well no, there's a bug going around, I kind of turn into this bacteria police, start shouting at everyone to wash their hands and disinfecting all the door handles, you know. Oh dear. I don't know. last stitch now through the 2 end points. So again, I'll just take a couple of locking stitches so that if for any reason the stitching here comes undone, it will only move along one seam, it won't unravel the whole block, because one seam is easy enough to repair. Oh dear. No fun, no fun at all. I always feel sorry for the teachers. I'm amazed that they're not ill more often. Let's fold that one back now. Not too bad at all. See, it looks quite good on screen. Up close though I can see it's not perfect, but we let these things go. Ish is good enough. And, if you can't tell from a galloping horse at 20 feet, it's good enough. It's good enough. Let's get this last one on. Like I say, I don't think I would break it down into these sort of sub-units next time, because it has been quite tricky to get these points to line up. I think as much as it pains me, I would add each piece individually. Let's just try and get those matching. To be honest, my stitches do show on the front peep. If I try and hold it up to the camera, I'm not sure if it's going to focus. But I'm using a black thread and I can see the stitches. Yeah, I think I'm too close to be able to get it to focus. You can see my stitches on the front. I have found, though, I was saying this weekend I've been thread basting because I'm trying to practice for this swap that I'm taking part in. So I've thread basted all these pieces. And I'm definitely finding that I've got a bit more fabric available than when I glue baste. I think when I glue baste I tend to pull it over too tight and it's very tricky then to take a small stitch. But when I just wrap it and thread baste it, I've got a bit more fabric along this top edge that I can nick into with my stitches. So they're smaller stitches. But yeah, looking at this, I can see stitches all along here and all along here. Again, I say the camera's not going to focus. What I'll do, I'll take a photo actually and I can put it in the Discord so you can see what I mean. But you can see my stitches. There is another stitch you can use called the ladder stitch. I can show you that. That in theory means that you don't see your stitches at all. I just find that one time consuming to do. And again, I'm not really concerned about my stitches being seen, so I don't tend to worry about it. But ladder stitch will stop your stitches from being seen, as will that flat back whip stitch. But again, they're time consuming, and I don't mind. Mine's handmade, so I don't mind. Let's just line these edge points up and then we'll adjust in the centre to get that matching. And again, your thread choice can make a difference to how much you see. That's too short a length, let's cut that off. So I'm actually stitching with black thread here because I'm stitching between a black piece and a white piece. If I was to use a white thread, I find the stitches are much more obvious than if I use a black thread. And I'm sure there's science involved in that. But yeah, you will often see the stitching on all my work peep. But it's handmade, right? Handcrafted. So again, I'm gonna marry the thread this time. I'm not going to wait for it to come unthreaded. So I'm just skewering the thread tail. It's really difficult to see. Typically, I'll try and get another one on, and then you can. I don't know if you can see that on there. But I'm just poking the needle through the little tail, and that will stop it from falling off. I'll just move those wraps down. That thread is attached now and isn't going to come out through the eye of the needle, which means I can concentrate on stitching. Yeah, the flat stitching took me a long time. I enjoyed it, and it, like you say, you cannot see the stitches at all, but it's not something that really bothers me. Sometimes speed is important, sometimes just the act of stitching a repetitive stitch is what I need. And I think I've just done whip stitch for so long, I just revert to it automatically. Just going through the back of there. I'm going to try and come through the front of this one. Go. Do a couple of stitches through that point to try and match them up, and I'll work my way out to one of the edges and then to the other. Try and avoid. The problem working with diamonds, like I say, is these little tags. You get these dog ears of fabric that get in your way, and they all disappear on the back. It can just be a little bit tricky when you're starting out. So I'm taking the tiniest bite through the top of each piece, and the smaller the bite, the less obvious the stitches are. Again, I'm using a really fine bobbin thread as well, so that will help to bury the stitches into the fabric so they're not as visible. Oh, a little bit of a knot coming there. Can we get that out? Yeah. And the thing is, if your stitches are going to be visible, the best thing you can do is just work on having regular, even stitches. So even if they are visible, they're all visible for the same amount, if that makes any sense. So you don't just have one huge stitch every now and again. Better to have lots of little ones all visible together. Oh, enjoy your tea, Mel. See you when you come back. Oh dear. See, I was hoping to have these finished by today, but such is life, stuff happens. I didn't get these ones done, but I will have the sampler made up before we start in June, and I will probably do a couple of streams a month on the stitch along. I'll have one for like the regular slot that I do, but I might also do an evening slot, or even like a catch-up type slot, so that if people are struggling or anything, we can carry on. I know that not everybody can make this stream time, so I need to just sit down, look at the calendar and work out when and how I'm going to do this. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Here we go. So we're just coming up to this point where all the pieces meet. Like I say, we'll stick those anchoring stitches in there to stop it from coming undone should any of the stitching break. There we go. So we fold that out. That's not too bad. Pretty good join. And probably nothing that a little bit of persuasive pressing when we take the papers out can't fix. So again, that one's been completely surrounded now, so I can take that paper out and it'll just become a little bit more manageable. And you can see on the back that by folding my diamonds in the same way, all of them are the same, these seams nest at the back here, so we don't have a big bulky seam. Even though we've got this extra fabric overhanging, they all nest, and you get this kind of funky secondary pattern on the back which nobody will ever see, but we know it's there. So I'm just going to figure out which thread to pull. That one. Like I say, thread basting definitely preserves your paper for longer, but glue basting is quicker, and it's kind of more portable really, because you could just take paper and pre-cut fabric with you. You don't need to have scissors and everything else. You just need your glue pen. So that one's surrounded, that one isn't, that one's surrounded, so I can take both of these out actually, because they've both been surrounded. So as soon as the shape has been surrounded by others, you can remove the papers and it softens up. Because these are nice big long stitches, they're easy to pull out. And the papers are much easier to remove because I'm not having to try and peel the glue off the seams. But I can't get away from just how convenient glue is. Like I say, no right or wrong, just what works for you. There we are. So just got this seam here to do, and I can take that paper out and we can work on getting the outer ring done. So where's my needle gone? There it is. So I've locked that stitch, I can trim that off and then work towards this one. So again, I'm just going to pop the clip on just to stop that from shifting, and we can stitch along here. Yep, I'll definitely have the requirements up on Discord, Peep, by Friday. So I've done a few test blocks now. I think I'm happy with the fabric calculations and the quantities I'm telling you to buy. and like I say, with this one I'm just using black and white as my backgrounds. It's pretty easy to pick up more black and white if you shouldn't have enough or you want more. But I'd hate for people to go and buy fabric, especially for this, and then find they hadn't got enough and couldn't get any more. So best to test it first. And I have this crazy notion that I'm going to make a miniature version of this as well, that I can put on the back of my jacket. But again, I haven't worked out what size to go down to, because some of these pieces are very, very small. I think if I was to do 1/2 inch, that might drive me insane. But it would look cool. These are all 2-inch pieces, and they're, like I say, instant gratification. Get a nice big block in a relatively short amount of time. I just have a thing about little things. I need to pick my fabrics for the sample that I'll make along with you guys. I'd like to go for rainbows, go for batiks, or something completely different. We'll have to see. I might pick some nice children's fabrics and then I can donate it to Linus when we're done. Because I don't need any more quilts. Take that off now. Oh dear. Is anybody else working on anything at the moment whilst they're watching? Want to share pictures? Tell us about it? Rant about it if it's not going to plan? There we are. So we're at that last point again. couple of anchoring stitches. And we're done there. So fold that out. So not perfect, but good enough. Wow, they must be tiny scarves, Crafty Angel. How big is your Kerry's daughter's doll? So now they're done, we just need to stitch these together. We'll swap to a white thread for that. So again, we just reduce the visibility of our stitchings. I'm getting fussy now and I shouldn't. Right, I just put that needle somewhere. There it is. Need to make myself a new needle minder, I think. Terrible for putting them down and then I can't remember what I've done with them. Chuck that in the thread bin. Oh, okay, 20 inches across. That's not too bad. They must work up quite quickly, do they? Although my knitting, it wouldn't work up very quickly at all. Good morning, Anne Bear. Yes, happy 1st of May already. Pinch punch, 1st of the month. I think I can still say that. It's just before midday. Yeah. How are you doing, Amber? I am making up my emotes as quilt blocks. They got approved on Friday, so I'm making them up and we'll incorporate them into our stitch along quilt that we're going to start in June. Okay, so now I've taken all these papers out in the centre, it's much more malleable. I can fold it and bend it, so I'm just going to fold this over right sides together so that I can stitch along this edge here. Great to hear it, Jan. I think we're all pretty good all of the time, aren't we? Although Peep is in a nervous state at the moment because she has a sickness bug going through the house. So I understand. Oh dear. No. Anarchy has rejoined us. I wonder how many work hours are actually spent watching Twitch, you know. Be an interesting metric to find out, wouldn't it? Oh dear. So I quite often have people on in the background though, even if I just mute the tabs. All helps with the numbers, doesn't it? Oh dear. It can always be worse. So my shoulder's just starting to give me a bit of jip at the moment. I think I've been overdoing it a little. But I'll finish this and then I'll stop and have a break and we'll look at something else, because I've been having a play with my little free piece of fabric that I got on Friday. And had a bit of an idea for what I could do with that. So I forgot to marry my needle and thread earlier, so I'm just going to do that now. Try not to stitch through myself. There we go. Have you made any progress on your unfinished projects, Jan Bear? I know you said in one of the previous streams you've got a lot on the go. Have you managed to finish anything else? feel like I've been doing really well of late because I've been finishing projects up on stream. So the kids loved the cushion we made on Friday. It had a lot of love over the weekend. And because I managed to get so much batting in it, I'm actually using it today as a kind of lumbar support. It's really, really firm. It's nice. It's keeping me upright for a change. Didn't take quite enough of the fabric through that time. I didn't want to commit to that stitch. Oh dear. Poor brain's going a blank today. So I was supposed to be decorating at the weekend, but I didn't, because I just didn't feel like it. Oh, Jan Bear! I love the gravity quilt. Do you have pictures you could share with us? I bet some of the others would like to see that. I think you're on the regulars list now. You should be able to just pop a link in if you want to. I'm just going to double check though. Yep, you're on the regulars list, Jan, so if you want to put a picture in, please do. From the quilting, you can put a picture of anything in, Jan. Did you quilt it yourself, Jan Bear, or did you have somebody else do it? Because that's a monster quilt, isn't it? It's a big quilt. Oh, Arky, you make me laugh. Who'd have thunked it, eh, Ark? People actually want you to do stuff? Man. Let's fold that over and do this side. Just try and keep these basting stitches out of the way. Don't worry, there's no rush, Jan Bear. I just know that's a quilt that people will like. Oh wow. Oh, I bet it looks amazing. Wish I knew people like that. I've only ever sent one quilt out to be long arm quilted, and when it came back I was a little bit disappointed. But, it was beautifully done, perfect tension, but just I don't think it matched what I got in mind, you know. Oh, so you drew the pattern out and she quilted it for you. Fantastic. Let's have a look at these images then. Crazy computer face coming up. Oh, Jan Bear, that looks amazing, doesn't it? Look at the texture. I love it. You must be thrilled with that. You must be absolutely thrilled with that, Jan Bear. And you've bound it as well, you're saying? We need some hype for Jan Bear then. We've got to finish. We've got to finish. Oh, look at that in the centre. Yeah. I'm going to play with my emotes. Let's get some bouncing hexies, some hype. Oh, it is stunning. It is absolutely stunning, Jan Bear. Well done. Would you enter that in any shows or anything? Or is it just for you? thank you for the host. Woohoo! Oh no, is it raining with you as well? That sucks. I find that every time I finish a quilt, I think, yay, get some pictures. Oh, it's raining. And then like today, it's a stunning day and I've got nothing finished to take pictures of. Oh, wonderful, Jan. That's brilliant. Thanks, Peep. Yep, they're blocks from our stitch along, and it just seemed the easiest way to make an emote. I wasn't sure what I was doing in that respect, and I'm not that artistic when it comes to drawing, so we'll just have hexies. So I've been learning how to design pieced hexagon blocks in Electric Quilt, because I can use it to just do my doodles, because my doodles tend to be just hexagons, and so it's quite straightforward to do quilts in Electric Quilt. But to do anything more complicated, like the blocks we're going to be doing in the stitch along, I've had to learn how to design them. And so I thought, whilst I'm doing this and writing up the pattern, we might as well use the images as our emotes. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, keep stitching through myself at the moment. Just ease that a little bit. So will you be teaching the gravity quilt, or are you teaching a different lesson, Jan? I think I've all but stopped teaching now. I'm kind of teaching via Twitch. A lot less pressure. And hopefully a bit easier to manage expectations. So the shop where I work has kind of closed down their high street store and has gone online and shows only, because we're so busy this year travelling. I've just not been able to get the classroom, actually get in and do something. Oh, fantastic, Jan Bear, that's good. There we are, so we've stitched those two joins. We'll do these two next. Boink. And then we'll just have the last two to do. Is that going to be long? That'll be long enough for another one. That definitely sounds good, Jan Bear. Oh dear, dear, dear. So yep, the thing's just popped up for Discord in chat, the timer. If you haven't already joined my Discord server, please feel free to jump in. I do put doodles up in there, so if anybody wants to make the doodles, you're welcome to, because I don't have time to make them all. I just like to mess around with hexies. And like I say, I take requests, so if people want to request something, that's absolutely fine. I don't guarantee that I'll get round to it straight away, but I'll always put them in the list for consideration. I was asked to make a koala hexadoodle this weekend, so that's on my list of things to do. I've got Minion Mamas, bugs and critters to look at, but yeah, I'm always happy to have a play and make something. And I'll also be putting in there the details of the Twitch stitch along that we're going to start in June, that I'm currently working on the test blocks for. But if you've never had a go at paper piecing and you'd like to have a try, you are welcome to join us. I'll be stitching on stream. You'll be able to stitch along with me, and you know, get me to stop, ask me any questions, any problems. I can deal with them there and then on stream. And yeah, you don't have to make a quilt. That's the big thing. You don't have to make quilts. We can make mats, cushions, patches for your jacket. I think the last time I wore a patch on my jacket, it was a massive Iron Maiden Number of the Beast. But I might just make this one in miniature and stick that on the back of my jacket. But yeah, we'd love to have you join us, because I'm on a mission to get people stitching. This is a great headspace. If you need to just chill out and let the world go away, I can highly recommend a bit of hand stitching. It's quite repetitive. Once you get the hang of it, you can kind of tune out and yeah, get some headspace. Much needed in this day and age. There we are, so we've just stitched along there now. That's done. Like I said, that one's surrounded now, so I can actually take that paper out and that will soften everything up. Looking for my scissors, there we are. Yeah, stitch along, totally free. You don't need to be a subscriber or anything like that. You just need to jump into Discord so that you can download the requirements lists, which will be up by Friday. Because I'm quite confident now that I know what we're going to be doing. And yeah, so we'll start in June, because May, unfortunately for me, is a very busy month. I have children on school holidays, I have a quilt show to attend, which means I'm going to be away from home for a week, and I also have a family holiday as well. So May is going to be a sporadic month of streaming, but June we'll get back on it and we will all start stitching along together and hopefully come up with something awesome, even if it's just the knowledge that we don't like paper piecing. You can tick it off your list and move on to the next hobby. Oh dear, let's just trim that thread from there and get a new piece. So I finally moved all my pre-filled bobbins into my bobbin saver ring, which means they take up a lot less space than the packaging did, and I can take them with me. I've always got the right colour to hand. Like I say, depending on which stitch you choose to use, you don't have to match your threads to your fabrics. But I do a whip stitch, which means my stitches are visible on the front. And so I try and match my thread as closely as I can to my fabric to reduce the visibility of the stitches. It doesn't eliminate them, but it does reduce the visibility. So let's do that side. Let's marry the thread to the needle before I forget. So just taking that tail, the short tail, I'm just going to pass the needle through, kind of like a thread kebab. Just going to thread it on 3 times. And that will just stop my thread from coming undone and pulling through the eye of the needle, because it gets frustrating. That's right, May the 4th. I was just thinking, Yanbei, I might try and do a Star Wars inspired hexadoodle for then. We'll see if I've got time. Unfortunately I'm at work tomorrow and Thursday, but I will try. I'm figuring a Death Star is going to be dead easy to do, isn't it, as a hexadoodle, but we'll try something a bit more advanced as well. Oh dear. Yeah, it would be fun. I'm thinking BB-8. I think BB-8 would be a good doodle to do, and kind of lends it himself to the hexagonal shape, doesn't he? Although I did do the Beast the other week, didn't I, from Beauty and the Beast. I wonder we could probably adapt that to be a Chewie. Or even the Millennium Falcon. Oh, now you see, I've got too many ideas and not enough time. But we'll see. We'll try and get a May the 4th doodle up on Discord for you all, if you want to have a go. My problem is too many doodles and not enough time. So I was saying over the weekend I found a very cool app for my iPad, iPhone, that allows me to do isometric drawings on the go. So I'm going to show you that when I finish doing this block. I'll show you that, and then you can start having a go at your own kind of doodles. It's not as comprehensive as Electric Quilt, but it allows you to at least get a basic idea down, and I think you're supposed to be able to export the images as well. So even if you just make yourself a colouring sheet that you can play with, that would be cool. Yay, Mel is back with her Hexy emote. Well, that's an interesting no context comeback. What's the matter, Arky? Are you all confused? Is that like overhearing somebody's conversation and just wishing you hadn't? Oh dear. Nearly there, just coming up to the end. We'll take a couple of anchoring stitches as always, just to stop that from unravelling. There we go, so we've just got these two to join up. Oh, too many doodles and not enough time. I'm always playing, that's the problem, Arky. I'm always messing around. But I just don't have the time to actually stitch them up. But I found an app that allows me to kind of do it on the go, so to speak. I thought I'd share the details with you guys, show you what it looks like. Oh dear. So it looks like it'll be easier for me to do the pieced blocks on this piece of on this app, and then I just have to get them into Electric Quilt so I can calculate fabric requirements and quilt sizes and things. So here we go. Start there. A couple of anchoring stitches. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Arky. I think I love Electric Quilt. It's fantastic for designing quilts, but there must be 300 quilts that I've designed in the time that since I've had it. I haven't made any of them. But then sometimes that's all I need to do is just get it down, and then I'm happy. It's kind of, that's enough. I've never been able to use a sketchbook or anything. I really struggle to jot my ideas down on paper. I tend to be much more sit at the computer and do it kind of person. But this app will hopefully allow me to do a bit more than just snapping a picture, and which is what I normally do, and then when I get home I can't even remember why I've taken the photograph. There are quilts everywhere. Just caught that basting stitch. Let's just fold you out the way, thank you. It would be fine if time stood still though, Arky, but there's every day there's more added to the pile, isn't there? Like I say, this way I get to chuck them into Discord, and if you want to make them, you can. That's that one. Hey, hey, Vicky! How's things with you? Say it's glorious here today. Have you got some sunshine as well? There we go. Should be right. I don't need to pin that one. I think we'll be alright just to stitch straight across. I'm just making up my emotes today because they got approved on Friday, and we're making them up into blocks to incorporate into the Twitch Stitch Along sampler. Definitely need a better name than that, but it'll do for now. Yay, hype! Oh, hype! If you can scroll, or you won't be able to see back up in the chat. I'm going to copy and paste the link for Jan Bear's quilt because it's amazeballs. Let's just see if I can copy that and post this for you, Vicky, because Jan Bear has finished his gravity quilt and it looks amazing. So if there's any hype going around today, it is going out to Jan Bear for that fabulous finish and to his friend for translating his quilting design into actual stitches. It looks, oh, I'm very, very excited about that quilt. Doesn't it just? I tend to, I'm a straight line walking foot quilter myself. So if it needs anything more complicated than that, it tends to be hand quilted, and that takes time. But yeah. I tell myself one of these days I'm going to spend the time and get comfortable with free motion quilting and things. But that's it, isn't it, Vicky? The secondary pattern with the flowers, it's amazeballs. I love it. I love the texture. I always get excited when you take a flat piece of fabric and start quilting it and it adds texture and suddenly it's three-dimensional. It's just, it really pops. So much hype for Jan Bear, because that is one fabulous quilt. Da-da-da. So what about you, Vicky? Have you managed to finish anything of late? I feel like I'm getting through my list of things now. It's great doing them on stream. It makes me do them. There we are. It is well deserved, Jan, don't worry. Let's just put this needle somewhere where I won't lose it. There we go. So, let's just move my cushion out of the way. That is the next ring of that block completed. And like I say, on the back, because of the way we've pieced and tacked the blocks, I now get this little spiral kind of pinwheeling with these seams. So these will be, I'll be able to press these nice and flat, which I think I'll do now. Let's plug the iron in and we'll press these flat. And because of the way that they've been basted, like I say, that just reduces the bulk on the back of the block and makes this really cool little secondary pattern on the back. Just put my thimble back on the mug. Da-da-da. Plug that in. Oh, I can rest my shoulders for a second. Trying to pack as well as clean the house. Are you moving, or are you going on holiday, Vicky? Oh, I'm going to put my water that doesn't get in the way. Let's try up there. So, I need to start packing because I'm away for a week with work and then I'm away for a week with family. Oh, funnily enough, both. Oh, yeah, why not? Fantastic. Yeah, I think I've moved house, oh, about 16 times, something like that. I'm a forces kid, so I've always moved house, kind of every couple of years. So it's become a bit of an art form now, but I think after the last move, I really don't want to move anymore. Not until the kids have gone. And then I'm headed your way, Archie and Mel. Well, interestingly, I ended up in Stafford, Vicky, because I worked in Derby and my husband worked in Crewe. So Stafford was in the middle. But there does happen to be a big MOD base there. It's just not, this one wasn't MOD related. Oh, yep, that tea's cold. Ugh. Right then. So I'm just going to press these with a dry iron just to flatten them down. Oh dear. Yeah, when I had a proper job. Watch the fingertips. Yeah, it's the rainbow thing. It does it to me every time. So this is the back, but it looks awesome anyway. It's like a second quilt. So I can feel a little bit of distortion where I've pieced the pieces together. It wants to kind of lift up a little bit in places, but it will be fine. Once we get all those papers out and we quilt it, it'll quilt out. There we go. So yeah, this is the third of the emotes, and you can see it up on the top of the screen there. I've put it on the overlay. That's how that block will look. Okay, let's get these loose threads out of the way. Just give it a gentle press. Looking good. Okay, I'm going to unplug the iron now whilst I remember. The times I've come down in the morning and I hear the iron click because the thermostat's heating up. I realise I've left it on all night. So let's just pop that. Oh, get rid of that little board for a minute. So the last thing really to do with this block is just to fill in. Oh, I do like the Best Press. It's just so expensive, Jan, over here, isn't it? But, I'll be honest, I've started to just use vodka and water. So we will fill these in with half hexies, look, just to put a border around. Move that a bit more so you can see it in shot. And that will just fill in the rest of that block. So there we go. So that's all I need to do then on that block, is just to fill that in. And all these tails intersect, look. Oh, through Amazon. I'll have a look. I tend to just use regular spray starch, whatever I can get in the supermarket, and that works for me. But you do sometimes get the flaking if you put too much on and don't let it soak through. But yeah, that does for me. I can nip out and grab a bottle quite easily. So yeah, that's how that's going to look. It's looking quite good, quite vibrant. I like the rainbow. I don't know if you notice I'm offsetting these half hexies because I've actually basted them two different ways so that I can intersect and hopefully get them to kind of lie flat-ish. I don't tend to have a problem with bugs here, Jan, so maybe we're just lucky, but yeah, I haven't had a problem with bugs yet. We'll see. But there we go, and that should look like the emote that's up there on the top of the screen. I'm just going to take a break from that for a minute, just let my shoulders drop, and I'll show you this app that I found on my iPad. And we'll see if we can get it to work on screen without it reflecting too much. I don't know if it's going to work or not. So where are we? It was called Isometric Paper, funnily enough. That is going to glare, isn't it? If you can see that, but it's basically just a screen of dots. But what I can do, I can kind of zoom in, is I can just join the dots and make a hexagon, and then I could come out here and make a star. It's so much quicker than trying to draw it out with a ruler and a pencil, and even quicker than, you know, doing it on electric quilt. So we could add some more hexagons around here. I don't think I can colour this in as such. I can kind of move it down so I can keep adding hexes. Oops. Oh, let's undo those. Hang on. Undo, undo. Much easier to rub it out as well. And I don't know if this is available on Android, because obviously I use an iPad. But it was kind of fun. Oh no, I don't want to draw there, I just want to move. So we could even put in some diamonds now. Look, let's make it. Oh, there we go. So yeah, this just looks kind of fun just for playing with hexes, and it lets me sketch out an idea without having to commit to making it in paper or anything else. I think I could sit for hours now. Plus I can probably do it whilst I'm watching telly with the husband, and he won't realise that I'm messing around. But this is kind of what I do all day. I just doodle. I just doodle with hexes and things. So yeah. So if you want to have a go, and it's got here, I've got JPEG or SVG. Now I'm guessing SVG, don't know what that is as a file type. I don't use anything that uses that file type. But it looks like you can just save image, copy, print, mail it to your friends, save it to iBooks. So yeah, looks like could be a bit of fun. So I'm going to play with this a bit more. I'll let you know how I get on. But there we go, there's another hexagon. Oh, another big hexy design. And what you could do is just assume that the length between the dots is 1 inch. So that would be a 4-inch hexagon. Oh, keep forgetting you need 2 fingers to move the screen. And not get too close to that bottom. So there we go. There's an easy pieced hexagon design. Scalable vector graphics. Thank you, Jan Bear. So I'm guessing you use that in some kind of drawing program, do you? Like, is it Photoshop or something like that? I just wish I could colour this in now. I think if I could colour this in, we'd be made. Absolutely made. But there you go. So again, that was called Isometric Paper. If you look for it in the App Store, Isometric Paper. It's brilliant, brilliant. Just gives me something to doodle on. And embroidery programs. Oh, now then, I have got an embroidery machine. I haven't used the software that came with it at all. Excellent. Might be able to play with that then. I was wondering if maybe you could use it in like the, you know, the Cricuts, the cutting machines where you can cut out shapes as well. Maybe I could import something like, my sister's got a Cricut, I don't know how you pronounce it. And maybe she could cut the papers out for me just to do the one design. But anyway, that looks like fun. I think I could lose hours and hours and hours just playing. Just playing away, drawing more hexagon shapes. And like I say, you can determine the length between the dots is just a number. So if you decide it's 1 inch, then all of these will be 1 inch papers. Easy peasy. So there we go. Close that down for now. But, yeah, so I'll have a play with that and see. It will certainly make life easier when I'm just trying to do black and white drawings of blocks. I'll probably do all of these in that, so that you guys can get an outline and then you can colour them in yourselves. if you wanted to. And that reminds me, actually I better let Tony know, because I bet Quill Tony might be able to use that, because she does paper piecing patterns. She might be able to make use of it too. I'm looking, there's a gap here, it's because I've dropped it on the floor. Oh, let's pick that up. Pick that up. So yeah, I just need to sit and stitch these on now, which I don't think I'm going to do right now. I'm going to just, like I say, I'm going to play with, I got a free bit of fabric on Friday. If you remember, I ordered some Alison Glass fabrics for an Instagram swap that I've signed up to. It's my first swap. I'm very nervous. I don't know why, but I am. I think it's more because it's going to be thread basted, hence I've reverted to thread basting. Yeah, just need to sit and stitch it together. I do, but that gets a bit boring and a bit repetitive after a while. And to be honest, the sun's shining, so I might go and do that outside in the garden. But yeah, so I've been thread basting. And I ordered these fabrics from Olive and Flo, and I got this lovely little swatch of fabric in with my order. I didn't order it, it wasn't, you know, part of the order, it was just a freebie. Time to shine. But I'm trying to think, what can I do with this? There isn't quite a 1/4 inch seam allowance on here. It really isn't my kind of fabric, to be honest with you, but I kind of just started messing around with hexes, as I do, and just laying them out. And what I wanted to kind of show you is that we could make a feature of this fabric by adding hexes, but not making it into a hexie. So I'm just going to move across here a little bit. Let's see how this looks. And it may or may not work. I don't know. But this is quite often what I do, is I just sit and play with the papers, see how something looks, and then decide whether or not to run with it. And this is the great thing. There's no commitment until you stitch it, is there? So the only thing I can see with this size of paper is obviously we've got an issue here with so this doesn't quite fit because I'm just laying them out. But you don't have to make a flower in the centre. I can leave this open and highlight this piece of fabric. I've got some half hexes somewhere. Goodness only knows where. Be on the other top. One of these days I'm going to fall off my chair, you know that. But yeah, I've got some half hexes there, look, from another block. So we could pop those in there, and then I could highlight that by framing it in hexagons. And so instead of fussy cutting, which I've talked about before, I will do some fussy cutting on stream so you can see, but I need to plan for that really. So yeah, I was just thinking I could highlight that, and that would make a lovely little mug rug or a coaster, you know, just put my cup of tea on. But I think the 1 inch might be a little bit too big, so I was going to just have a play with 3/4 inch papers and see how they look, because I don't like to waste anything. Don't want to waste anything. So what have we got in here? These are 3/4 papers, so a bit smaller. We might be able to do something a little bit different, or again we could probably do the same. So if I start there, look, just see. Frustratingly, obviously this is white fabric and white papers, but already I can start to see how I'm putting a half hexie. Yeah. But what if I go out here and do it as a lozenge or a diamond shape? So I just go out one more maybe. Oh, in fact we could even do a triangle with the way this is looking, couldn't we? If I start to come back in, you see I'm going to lose some of that deer. But so I can make a feature of it without having to cut it up at all. We can just applique these hexes onto this piece of fabric. That looks quite good, but I'm sad that I've lost all of this. So we'll see what else could we do. So we might have to go out a bit further, and again we can pop in the half hexes just to, don't want to lose that, I don't want to lose that. But like I say, I thought we'd have a play and just see what we can get. So let's go this way then and just see what we get this way, just by making a larger hexagon. I do have a die for cutting 3/4, so maybe I'll use a different coloured card for you on screen. So this is just roughly laying them out just to give us an idea. Of what we can do. Yeah, it might be quite fun to do a whole quilt with sort of hexy rings, but not actually fill in the centres. Just use some kind of feature fabrics or novelty type fabrics. I've got a lot of Christmas fabric. I could use do some Christmas rings. That's not right. Much easier to tell when you're looking on screen. So yeah, I think that's too big, that ring. But we could do an inner ring that was a bit smaller. I just don't want to lose this feature here. But we could sit and play for hours, couldn't we? So I think I'm going to have a play with that and see what I come up with. I quite like this fabric that's left over from the hexie bag that we made. Quite liking that kind of rich plummy purple colour. I have to turn that light off, don't I? You might get a bit of... There we are. Quite like this plummy colour with these colours in here. And of course we've got the little stripy bit that's left on the back, so again we can do something with that. I'm just not sure what yet. Oh dear. So I think, you know, I'm going to call it a stream because that sun is breaking the pavement outside. I've been on for how long? 2 hours nearly now. I think I'm going to call it a stream. Submaterial. What you mean for the No, I'm not with you actually. Vicky, elaborate for me, dear. You mean subscribers or... The stripy bit. Oh, I see. I'm getting there. I'm a bit slow. Yes, I could use that to fill in the gaps, you mean? We'll see. It's just so pretty, isn't it? So I wouldn't order fabric like this. This is not my style of fabric at all, but it seems a shame to just chuck it away. Not that I would. It would just go in the scrap bins. But I think because it's an awkward sort of shape and there's not an even seam allowance, I feel like I need to do something. Incorporate it into something. So I'll put it on my to-do list. On the to-do pile with everything else. Oh dear. Right then. So, yeah, I think we're going to call it a stream today. I'm going to go and have a look on the Knotty by Nature stream team, see who else is live at the moment. And we'll head over there for a little while. I'm going to grab some lunch and I'm going to stitch these black bits onto this block so that we get another one of our stitch along test blocks done. And like I say, I will get the requirements list up in Discord for Friday. So if anybody wants to join in with us, you can. You'll have a month to get everything together and we will start stitching properly in June sometime. I just need to work out exactly when in June. I will do a couple of streams on this because I realise that not everybody can join us on the Tuesday stream, not everybody can join us on the Friday stream. So we'll pick one and I'll probably do an evening stream as well, just once a month so that people who want to join in can. And yeah, we'll see how we get on. Who knows? Who knows where this is going to go? Not me. So let's have a gander. I'll put a link actually to that isometric paper in the Discord as well, so that if anybody wants to have a go at downloading it, they can. Let's have a look. Knotty by Nature, who is online at the minute? And what are they doing? We've got the crochet dude. Not sure what crochet, I'm guessing he crochets. What do you think, guys? Peanut Lady. Can't tell what Peanut Lady's up to. Sorry guys, bear with me. Do you know what? I think I am going to go and raid Crochet Dude, because he looks like a happy chappy. I hope he's a happy chappy. I hope he's a happy chappy. I'm going to sit back and watch what he's crocheting, because I'm always fascinated by other people who crochet, because I cannot do it quickly. I am... he is a happy chappy. Is he, Vicky? Brilliant. Well, we'll go and see Crochet Dude then. Take some of this, the Hexie love over. I suppose I need to work on a raid call, don't I? I still haven't figured that out, but I don't know what I'd say. I don't know what we'd say. Ideas on a postcard, guys. Start thinking about a raid call and what we can say to people when we come in. Where am I? In my chat window. Let's do raid Crochet Dude. At least it's a nice, easy username as well, if you spell it right. Oh, Ali. Ali. Right, I think that's right. Let's see what happens. Okay, we are raiding Crochet Dude. Excellent. Big thank you to everybody for joining me again. I love that you spend time with me. I love that I'm getting things done. Huge thank you to Crafty Angel for subscribing to the channel. Have fun using your hex emote. Yeah, Friday requirements will be out. May the 4th, we might have a hexadoodle inspired by Star Wars. Who knows? Have a great week. Bye, guys.